Certainly a lot of frustrations, and a lot of that has to do with quite frankly, the lack of progress. Now, just in the last hour, we have had several people coming up to our news truck telling us that their tap water is brown. We are in one of those employee lots, and you can see behind us here that you need to present your employee badge in order to leave the parking lot. Allison was parked right at pump 7 over there. She was captured on that surveillance camera, and you can see here tonight a poster on the door asking for the public's help finding her. Two very different sides to this story. Durham Public Schools have reinstated the teacher here at Eno Valley. That he used a crowbar to get in, but what he failed to notice was the surveillance camera overhead. Also, police still not identifying the man killed here tonight or the driver. So we decided to see how long it would take us to get there. So we got in the car, put the key in the ignition, and took off. And we arrived some 20 minutes later. Keep in mind, we didn't have to contend with rush hour traffic. Well, actually, I'm in the back seat. My photographer, Lauren, is riding shotgun at the moment. I am with Dwight Collins with Pristine Turf Management. I first told you about problems with the Cumberland County Health Department back in May. Since then, I've spoken with those at the Health Department and county commissioners, but we haven't heard from a patient, that is, until now.
This is very frustrating, a lot to deal with.
A situation Candace Thompson shouldn't be in. She says for the last 8 years, she's been going to the Cumberland County Health Department for her annual pelvic exam and pap smear.
I thought everything was well and was going okay until I went somewhere different this year.
That new doctor telling her she had an irregular cervix. She says that would have shown up in pap smears, but she tells me she was never informed of any abnormal test results by the health department. If she had been notified, she could have gone for additional testing and follow-up. Now she says she's in danger of developing cervical cancer and has to have her uterus removed.
I really don't want to have that surgery because I do want more kids, and having that surgery, I don't have that chance anymore.
Thompson has a 4-year-old son, but at 29 years old, she hoped to have other children. She believes she's one of the 29 women who were never notified of abnormal test results. CBS North Carolina first told you about problems at the health department back in May. That report prompted an internal audit. According to the county, it looked at cervical screenings done from 2011 to 2015, and it found that all 160 patient records it reviewed weren't handled in accordance with policy. All of these women had abnormal test results.
We have requested her medical records, have not gotten those records back yet.
Alan Rogers is Thompson's attorney. He tells me they put that request in about 45 days ago. Thompson says she's speaking out because she believes there are other women out there. She's hoping this gets the word out and that they'll come forward and get medical attention they need. In Fayetteville, I'm Amy Cutler, CBS North Carolina. And there remain a lot of unanswered questions tonight, like what led up to this accident, how it happened, why it happened, but we are learning more about the soldier who was killed. Whether it's in the air, on the water, or at the range, the U.S. Army Special Operations Command training is intensive, and it was during part of a demolition training exercise at Fort Bragg this morning that the Army says a soldier died, 7 others injured.
Accidents do happen at Fort Bragg, but not usually with that many people involved.
The soldier killed Staff Sergeant Alexander Delita of Dunstable, Massachusetts. He was just 32 years old. Enrolled in the Special Forces qualification course at the JFK Special Warfare Center. The Army telling us students and trainers from that center were involved. Those injured taken by helicopter and ambulance to local hospitals. According to initial reports, the injuries happened as part of an explosion. The Army hasn't provided any details on that.
That was kind of a shock when we heard about it this morning.
Iris Hash and her husband own Charlie Mike's. The bar has become a gathering place for those in special forces.
I gave up my nursing career to just take this full time because my husband at that time was active duty. He spent 39 years in the special forces.
Hash and her husband creating this wall. Each of these brave men served in special forces and died in Afghanistan. They also keep track of the day each of them was killed. And on that day, they bring the photo down and hold a memorial.
It means a lot to me. And to to know that the families know that no matter what, no matter how much time goes by, there's always somebody that will remember their loved ones and be thankful for their sacrifice.
And certainly we are all thankful for their service. The Army tonight not identifying the 7 soldiers injured in this or telling us what their condition is. Live in Fayetteville, I'm Amy Cutler, CBS North Carolina.
He's still over here with no options.
24-year-old DeAndre Branch shot in the neck, the bullet shattering part of his spine. His father, Willie Michener Jr., says he's been at his bedside at Wake Med since it happened Monday evening.
Not really understanding where that come about to where he was a threat to someone in order for him to get shot.
Police tell us they responded to this Walmart on Nightdale Boulevard for a reported larceny around 6. The incident report showing he stole 2 5-packs of bras valued at $150. Cell phone video provided to CBS North Carolina shows Branch running from cops. Authorities say he forced his way into an office building where he came across 54-year-old Connie Wells, who police say was alone, had a concealed handgun permit, and shot Branch. What happened during that interaction, we just don't know. Some people are going to see the shoplifting and they're going to say police did what they had to do. This woman did what she had to do. What would you say in response to that?
Crime is a crime, but there's levels to everything. Shoplifting is not right by no means, but that is in no fashion in comparison to your life.
Michener says his son was not armed and he's never owned a gun. Police wouldn't comment on that. Michener also questions the police response. Why were so many cruisers needed? Why did officers have to go in with guns drawn?
He is a great kid. In life, you make bad choices.
Do you think that the woman in this case, the woman who fired the shot, should face charges?
Without knowing what really happened, it would be unfair for me to say yes.
Certainly a lot of unanswered questions. Now, Nightdale police tell me that they will be meeting with the district attorney's office tomorrow afternoon. Until that meeting, they've declined to provide any updates on this still ongoing investigation. Live at Wake Med, I'm Amy Cutler, CBS North Carolina. She is livid, not only concerned for her son, but also angry at this teacher because she tells me she told her not to do it. And that's why she came here to the police department, hoping criminal charges will follow.
A substitute teacher said, you know, I could put him to my breast and breastfeed him.
Casey Oxendine says her 3-month-old son was constipated, that this substitute teacher at the Carborough Early School told her breastfeeding the child could help. Oxendine works at the school as a pre-K teacher. She tells us the teacher made the offer twice, but she was very clear in her response.
I said, no, absolutely not. Like, that's nasty to me.
Oxendine says moments after she left the room, surveillance video captured that teacher lifting up her shirt and putting the baby to her chest. It happened Friday.
I was in shock at the video. It was very unbelievable, unrealistic. I didn't find out until after she was gone.
The director of that daycare, Darren Council, telling us an employee reported the incident to him and that he in turn alerted the State Department of Health and Human Services. Council says the teacher involved was licensed and had more than a decade of experience in child care. He tells us the teacher is no longer there. Oxendine telling us the teacher was fired. Following the incident, she says her son became sick and she took him to the ER to be checked out.
He's highly lactose intolerant. He can't have any milk-based products, any milk, anything with milk in it. So for you to not only go against my wishes, but also put something in my son's body that may cause harm to him, it's assault.
Certainly a lot of concern. Now, we obtained a copy of that police report. I also checked in with police in the last half hour. They tell me this remains an ongoing investigation. We also took a closer look at the daycare and its record with the state. We're going to have more on that for you coming up live at 6 o'clock. Live in Carborough, I'm Amy Cutler, CBS North Carolina. It really is a picturesque view. This is Lake Lure right over my shoulder, but just above here you can see all of that smoke. That is from this Party Rock fire. Firefighters have been working 12-hour shifts, many of them volunteers, but the fight is far from over.
In this region, this is definitely the largest thing that we've ever seen.
The Party Rock fire has burned nearly 3,500 acres and at last check was only 15% contained. The State Forest Service taking us into the fire zone this afternoon through the village of Chimney Rock, that normally busy tourist town under a mandatory evacuation. They showed us how firefighters had worked to protect homes. We also saw how close that inferno had come to the village. These are the kinds of lines of fire that crews have had to contend with. This is right off a main road on Highway 7464, the way you get from Chimney Rock to Bat Cave. The Forest Service saying there are nearly 450 firefighters from more than 100 agencies working round the clock to keep the flames from spreading. Progress has been slow, the ground is dry, the conditions ripe for fire. But officials say this blaze is moving slowly, giving firefighters a chance to clear the brush around homes and stay ahead of it.
There's no way that you're going to be able to go in and cool this fire down when there's thousands of acres involved. There's going to be hot spots, there's going to be areas of fire still within the fire line that could possibly burn for months.
A live look back out here at all of this smoke. You can understand why there are some concerns regarding air quality. The smell of fire is really strong in the air at this point. The governor is saying that they don't know how these fires started, whether they were intentional or accidental, but they say that it does appear to be man-made. Now, there are many challenges these firefighters are facing. We're going to have more on that side of the story coming up for you live at 5:30. Live in Lake Laura, I'm Amy Cutler, CBS North Carolina.